Our next speaker is Luis Balfour. Luis, are you on?
I am indeed.
Awesome. So Luis is one of our most active community members in the Marscoin community. He is responsible for many of the memes that we showed today. He's been cranking these out. Look, there's one right there. So he's going to talk about the importance of a Marscoin army. Take it away, Luis.
Thank you so much. And I will just check a couple of things. Firstly, that everybody can hear me. And secondly, that everybody can see the PowerPoint.
You're good on both counts.
Splendid. Okay, so I'll just begin by introducing myself. Actually, the Louis Balfour is not my name. My name's Craig Jones. Actually, I use the Louis Balfour as my Discord handle. And if you don't know who Louis Balfour was, then you clearly haven't watched enough 1990s BBC comedy. He was the jolly presenter of Jazz Club. I promise you, I will not bore everybody with jazz music trivia for the next 40 minutes. The importance of a Marscoin army. I was much exercised and interested in the comments of our previous speaker, Michael Lane. Like him, I'm very new to Marscoin. I had no involvement with the community 2 months ago. I literally became involved in the last sort of a few weeks. I am a long time fan of space exploration, a space advocate, if you will, and I see the utility of cryptocurrency, which can be used on the planet Mars. I'm also somebody who spends a lot of time on Twitter. And what I noticed when I came to Marscoin was that the presence on Twitter was not as strong as it might be, to say the least. I endorse Michael's comments when he says that your internal stakeholders can be the reason you succeed. I noticed that he categorized people in terms of whether or not they were hostile to a project or undecided or a fan or had skin in the game, so to speak. What I would like to concentrate on during the course of this presentation is the extent to which we should be concentrating on the undecideds, and indeed people who just haven't heard of the coin before. I also agree with him that our values are perhaps not as strong as we might like. I, as it happens, have a couple of solutions to that, which I'd like to advance in the course of this presentation. And but we'll begin with a simple point, which is that Mars, going to Mars, venturing out into space, this new frontier, which we would like to sail on, is the business of dreams. And I dare say everybody listening has the reason you're here is because you have this visceral, long-standing interest in exploring and going into space, seeking out new worlds. And that is something that we really do have to play on, have to engage with when we're looking to bring new users to the coin, to expand the community. I'll go a step further and suggest that expanding the community is the single most important objective that we have in the coming weeks and months and years indeed. We've had a lot of very interesting, very constructive discussion today about the technical aspects of Marscoin, about the things that we should be doing to make sure that the coin will function when people do set foot on Mars, which can't be too far away. And that is all well and splendid, and we should continue with those efforts. But we should also continue because we do not have a God-given right to be a cryptocurrency that is used on the planet Mars. In order to become that cryptocurrency, in order to ascend to that position, we have to make sure that, in a word, people care about Marscoin. And this is one of our early memes. This was put out on Twitter about a month ago. And today's weather, cloudy with a chance of dreams coming true. There were a couple of memes in this style. And I think it's most important that as we move forward and increase our social media presence, that we do so from as many different perspectives as possible. We're not just talking about jokey memes, though they have an obvious utility. We're not also talking about memes necessarily that expand upon the technical aspects of the coin, though that also is important. We should be looking to appeal to everyone from every perspective. I'll talk a bit more about that as we go. Some background. So as we know, Marscoin is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies around. My understanding is that it was developed in the final months of 2013 and was released on New Year's Day. It's a low circulation coin. 48 million will be in circulation, and I'm given to understand we will reach that point round about 3 years' time. It's available on some exchanges. It's also available in federal ATMs across the United States. Its purpose, as we know, is to provide a blockchain or cryptocurrency for future Mars bases, and that's all well and good. But in terms of its social media presence, we have a little way to go. Now, I've chosen these 5 currencies to compare it with. Admittedly, they're not particularly closely associated with Marscoin. Probably the most unfair comparison here is with DOGECOIN, which, although it is of similar age, has, as we know, become very much a viral phenomenon. And you can see almost 2 million people on Reddit are following its main account. It has over 1 million Twitter followers on its main account. And look at those, look at the number of hashtags on TikTok, 795 million, quite extraordinary. The other coins here are far newer. In fact, a couple of them have only been in existence for a few months, literally since the spring. But you can already see they've got some healthy numbers. Our numbers are not as healthy at this time. So these numbers are slightly out of date. I compiled these a couple of weeks ago, but 750 people on Reddit, 2,600 odd on Twitter, and nothing at all on TikTok. We'll come back to that in just a second. So it's clear that there is room for improvement in terms of our social media presence. We are older than the vast majority of cryptocurrencies still around, but we are not yet, so to speak, the go-to space-based coin. There are other coins which are marketing themselves with more efficiency and success at this time. And I'll just briefly mention TikTok. I'll return to it later on in the presentation, but I did actually do a meme about this. I mentioned that, you know, I'm not a teenager, so I don't know a huge amount about it, but we should have people in the community that do, and people in the community that are prepared to record short videos and post them to TikTok, because if we do not do so, then we're missing out on a golden opportunity to market the coin to a vast constituency of people who to whom right now the coin is invisible. Come back to that shortly. As I say, my feeling is that we should be devoting a lot more time to marketing, and that does. I was greatly buoyed by Jacka and his associate. I'm sorry, I forget the name. Their presentation on this very clever idea of sending a Mars coin around the world. I think that is excellent. I think that gives a very useful and very thought-provoking narrative. It's also an international thing to do, and it's important, I think, to emphasize that although the impetus right now to go to Mars is coming from SpaceX and NASA in particular, that this should be a global endeavor. And when we go to Mars, people from every community in the world should have a stake in that. So how do we do this? How do we market the coin and associate the coin with this endeavor? Social media is the way. It is the most important way in which people find out about cryptocurrencies. The cryptocurrency space particularly revolves around social media platforms such as Twitter, as we know. There is academic research saying that Twitter in particular has a disproportionate influence on cryptocurrency. I can send people on those references if they like. But I will put it to you that social media is not just a shop window for Marscoin, it is the shop window for Marscoin. We absolutely positively have to make as much use of it as possible, because if we don't, newer coins which are marketed with more alacrity will undercut Marscoin's position. And Marscoin will not become the de facto cryptocurrency I will just make a point here. There was a mention in the chat section about Mars tokens and Mars coins, which somewhat resemble the original. I want to share one example with you, and this is quite remarkable. I was astonished when I saw this. The brass neck of the developers of this particular coin. That's our logo, as we know, very good logo. And what I found was this Twitter account. It's been talked about on the Discord channel. Mars token. The account, at least, was established in July 2019. It suddenly sprang to life about 3 weeks ago. Take a look at the logo. Isn't that just remarkable? As I say, the brass neck to so closely resemble our logo is quite extraordinary. So when all these coins are around, and when all these coins are getting traction on social media platforms such as Twitter, it necessarily dilutes the powerful nature of our message. You know, we have an excellent use case for the coin. It is one of the finest white papers I've ever read. I've read quite a few in the last few months. It's just excellent in terms of the technical aspects of what we're trying to do. A blockchain, cryptocurrency for another planet. But if potential users are mistakenly buying other coins, then the deleterious effect is obvious, which is why I've spent a lot of my time on social media in the last few weeks, just correcting people. When people tweet, "Hey, Elon, how's about a Mars coin?" Just sending them a friendly tweet saying, "Well, actually, there already is one," and attaching a meme or a picture which makes the salient point. Incidentally, I'll just mention this in passing, though I hope it is self-evident. I really do think we should be making more of the fact that we are, quote, the original Mars. There is, in fact, with the granddaddy of this particular type of currency, and that all the others that follow. I won't use the word knockoffs precisely. Oh, look.
I'll recount the point, which is that we really should be doing more to market ourselves as the original Marscoin, just to put clear water between us and any people who have come in Marscoin's footsteps, accept no limitations, so to speak. Which is why we have that tagline on these two pictures here. And the other thing that it does is to just very briefly state some of the salient properties of the coin. It's low circulation, it is fully decentralized, we have fast transaction speeds, and it was established in 2014, just to make sure people don't think that it is a scam coin that has come along lately. So that is the message that we should push when people talk about the technical aspects of the coin, in my opinion. As we know, Twitter is not the place to have complicated discussions about this or that, but to reduce the properties of the coin to those four elements, I think, gets across to most people what distinguishes us from other coins around and about. So as I say, there are other reasons why we should seek to utilize social media. One of which is to determine more closely, as Michael pointed out, we need to determine more closely the values that are associated with Marscoin, I think. As of right now, the community identity is largely expressed through the Discord channel, which has over 1,000 members and is quite active. There are posts on a near hourly basis. The content sharing channel is pretty active too. But we don't seem to spend, or at present, we don't spend a lot of time talking about what Marscoin stands for. We'll come back to that point as well. But more generally, the social media presence should be used to attract new users. It will also allow funds for listing to be raised so we can get onto larger exchanges, and will enhance this sense of belonging, which is so important to other currencies. And I will also point out that the time to do this work is now, because right now, public interest in space exploration is at a high that it has not been at since the days of Apollo, perhaps the early space shuttle era. And the reason for this is the remarkable leaps forward that have been taken by SpaceX, to some extent by Blue Origin, and a number of other providers, new space in general. And take a look at these four YouTubers, for example. They all have channels on YouTube covering space exploration, various facets of space exploration. We have Felix Schlang from Austria, whose What About It channel has 192,000 subscribers. He posts every few days on SpaceX-related developments, mostly. Tim Dodd, who has in fact, that's wrong, he has over 1 million subscribers at this point, host of the Everyday Astronaut. We have Marcus House from Australia, who, again, provides weekly updates on SpaceX and other providers. And then we have Amy Shira Titel, host of Vintage Space from Canada. I could have spoken about other people. I could have spoken about Scott Manley from Scotland, who has, I believe, over 1 million subscribers and turns out videos with extraordinary rapidity on the latest developments in space exploration. I could have talked about the Tomorrow team, who have had a YouTube channel since, well, for many years now, doing the same thing. So if we are not to, we really do have to avail ourselves of this opportunity to attach Mars coins to this endeavor and make it an integral part of what we're going to achieve as we move out into the solar system, particularly to Mars. I also wanted to talk about a few fallacies, and I've heard them sporadically in the community over the last couple of months. There is, I think, at times a certain complacency to be found. People say, oh, yes, you know, Marscoin is going to be huge very soon. A lot of faith in the mission. And there is also an appeal to celebrity, kind of, you know, let's get Elon Musk on board, shall we? I don't think that these are necessarily good ways forward. The fallacy of just crossing your fingers and hoping people will discover Marscoin, I don't think that's a goer right now, because users will tend to gravitate towards better known coins, not necessarily coins with a better use case. I'll point that out as well, especially in recent months when you know, the cryptocurrency scene has gone kind of crazy in terms of its prices and value and such. We've found people buying into all kinds of coins with very questionable use cases, coins that are not decentralized, and we've had a few rug pulls and so forth. And I think this is also in part due to the fact that a lot of these people who've got into cryptocurrency lately don't necessarily do in-depth research. You'll notice on a lot of the memes that I've shown so far that DYOR, hashtag DYOR, do your own research, has been prominent. And this is because it is important to let people know that they should do their own research. Not a lot of people do, I think. And gut feeling and the fear of missing out are just as important, if not more important, I think, than white papers. Excellent though our white paper is. And in terms of, you know, reaching out to Elon Musk, that really is a non-starter. You know, Elon Musk, I'm sure, is keeping one eye on the idea of cryptocurrency for the planet Mars. He has no reason to endorse or sponsor Marscoin at this point. If Marscoin is a well-established coin with hundreds of thousands of users in 2 years' time, that might be different. But I don't think it is worth our while to reach out in that way. So to sum up, Marscoin will not become successful until it is widely adopted, and it will not be widely adopted unless it has name recognition. Hence the need for this social media presence. Hence the need for hashtags and memes. Marscoin Army, I believe, was used as a hashtag for the first time on the 15th of May. It is not a particularly innovative or surprising hashtag. As we know, there's a Dogecoin army, a SafeMoon army, and so forth. But it is something that we can rally around. And what we want here is to establish a sort of virtuous circle by growing the community. You know, get the community to grow. That way we can raise funds and we can get on a large exchange. To do that, we need a sense of community. We need a sense of identity. We need to determine what Marscoin stands for. And I have a few ideas in that regard that I'd like to share with you all. And our case study here is Dogecoin. And we're actually using the research here of Victoria Estevez of the University of Stirling in Scotland, who has done a great deal of research into memes. And she talked about Dogecoin in particular as a very long-standing meme which emerged in the early part of the 2010s. And she pointed out that the Dogecoin community, as it coalesced around the meme, did a lot of very useful, very altruistic things. They, in fact, started to use the coin for charitable purposes, such as sponsoring athletes at the 2014 Winter Olympics. The Jamaican bobsleigh team, we're all aware of Cool Runnings, of course. They have continued since then. Were having trouble financing their trip to the Winter Olympics in that year. $25,000 was raised by the Dogecoin community, and that's that's pretty big in order to get them there. And they also contributed $6,000 to the GoFundMe appeal of Shiva Keshavan, a luja from India, so he could turn up as well. And these are very serious athletes. In fact, I believe Keshavan is the Asian record holder for luge, and they were making these contributions. They've also done things like contribute towards appeals to get clean water in developing countries. And this has come through the Dogecoin Foundation, in part, which aims, as Estevez points out, to, quote, facilitate the continuing prosperity of Dogecoin through promotional and charitable endeavors, and expand the community ideals of camaraderie and playful discovery, and to empower people the world over. Who could possibly, hate Dogecoin? It is such an inclusive, such a fun community. It is a community which is full of life and vibrant. DOGE is now an acronym for do only good every day. Nobody can argue with that. It is the reason why this coin, which has no discernible use case as far as I can determine, now has the 7th largest market cap in the cryptocurrency space. This is a community that have their values in order. So should we. And here are a few principles that I would like to put in front of the community for consideration. The Marscoin community, in my estimation, should be inclusive. Firstly, anyone who supports the coin should be able to join. It doesn't matter about gender or ethnicity or nationality or religious beliefs. We have a pretty broad community already, I believe. In fact, we've had speakers from various different countries already today, and I'd like to see more of that. It should be a responsible community. We should be encouraging everybody to do their own research. There have been some terrible stories just in the light of the recent cryptocurrency crash or deep correction, whatever you want to call it, of people losing large amounts of money that they couldn't afford to spend. And we really should be aware of that and make sure that we protect people who come into the community from that kind of thing as we move forward. We should be a supportive community. I think we are. I've spent a lot of time on the Discord channel in recent times. I've been quite impressed by the way in which community members look out for each other and discharge a duty of care. We should be industrious, of course. We want to see retweets and reposts. I would suggest that the Marscoin army right now on Twitter has got less than 20 individuals in it, but everybody reposts everybody else's work. And so this is helpful because, as we know, one of the most important ways that people determine what to look at on Twitter is through the popularity index. How many retweets does this have? How many replies does this have? How many likes does this have? We need to push this forward. And if you are online, which you are, you have the ability to do this. This is not hard. You can get a Twitter account, a Snapchat account, TikTok account, whatever you like, and you don't even have to create your own content. Just like other people's content, retweet it, repost it, reply to it. All that kind of thing helps to increase the volume and really shift Marscoin closer to the forefront of the conversation revolving around cryptocurrency, which we find on social media platforms. We should be unique, I think. I think we're one thing that the community does have in very large quantity is people who have an absolute belief in the rightness of space exploration, in the idea that humankind should indeed become a multiplanetary species. That distinguishes us, I think, from other coins. And it should be a fun community. As I say, Dogecoin. How many people, I wonder, how many people even in the Marscoin community were turned on to Marscoin through that little dog? Dogecoin is such a fun community to be part of. We should seek to emulate that, I think. as Estevez points out in her thesis. Ultimately, memes are successfully used across various groups and types of relationships, as their elasticity is able to accommodate the incarnations that place value upon spreadable meaning on a global scale. I endorse that viewpoint entirely. So, some Marscoin memes. These have been out on Twitter and Discord and so forth. You'll notice that the cultural references here are all kind of old. And the reason for that is because I'm in my 40s. And so, of course, they're old. I would like to see a wider variety of cultural references being used in our memes. The one on the left there is one of the most popular memes that we've had. It has got quite a few likes and quite a few likes and replies on Twitter and elsewhere. Good old Futurama, and some more there. And I'll point out that that an enhanced social media presence really pushes us to overcome buyer inertia. This idea that buyers are unwilling to make a purchase or switch from current investments because that's where they're at right now. And I'd suggest to you that our low name recognition on social media is actually a problem for us, because so many people who might invest in Marscoin are already investing in other cryptocurrency communities. The good news is that buyer inertia can be overcome, and we know this because it has already happened to Marscoin. I'm referring, of course, to the price spike in February. And it all happened in this entirely innocuous fashion. A tweet conversation between CZ Binance and Elon Musk, which occurred on the 15th and the 16th of February. Musk mentioned Marscoin, as a result of which the value of Marscoin spiked and went up to $2.50, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen different quotes from different coin trackers, and there it was. All of a sudden, Marscoin had all these new users, new stakeholders, in fact. But I will point out that very few of these people were retained. As we can see, there's this spike, and it is just an isolated spike. Afterwards, there's a sell-off, and we go back to slightly elevated levels of interest in the coin from January and early February. And it is because, I think, Marscoin had this low public profile, and indeed there was this this idea that the values behind the coin were perhaps not quite as well defined as they might have been. So, to conclude, buyer inertia can be overcome. I think, and I believe everybody in the community shares this idea, that a cryptocurrency for Mars is an intuitive concept. It has immense popular appeal. It makes sense. Sooner or later, people will move to Mars. They will need a currency. Fiat will probably not be used because it will take up precious payload. And so a digital currency is the obvious way forward. If we grow our social media presence, we will very significantly increase our chances of being adopted in the coming months and years prior to those first Mars missions being sent. The time to do this is now. It must happen across as many platforms as possible. We must market it to everybody all the time. And I'd like to point out that, people from like the 18 to 30 demographic is really important to this, I think. I shall just finish with some other memes that have been round and about. We want strong visuals. We want catchy slogans. I think we should have a mascot. We don't really have one at this point in time, but, we see how important Doge is to the DOGECOIN community. I'd suggest an anime type mascot because, who doesn't like anime? Any sort of memeable material is good, just to enhance the name presence, I'd suggest. And I'd also like to point out, and again, this feeds back into the idea of a physical coin being sent around the world, that we should be appealing to different speech communities. Very, very few cryptocurrencies, in my understanding, market themselves or place themselves according to different languages. And so we've got here versions of of an advertisement that was put for this very conference in 9 different languages. We got French at top middle, Italian top right, then we got Russian, Ukrainian, Dutch, whatever you like. And this is all really important, because what this does is reach out to people who are not necessarily being reached out to by other cryptocurrencies. Also, it's important to point out that memes don't necessarily have to be about the currency. I've shown a couple of memes at the start which talked about the characteristics of the currency, the fact that it has low circulation and so forth. It doesn't have to be that way. Just retweeting material of this nature does something to raise the awareness of Marscoin. And I'll just point out what James mentioned earlier, which is you have the green, the red, green, and blue motif there, mirroring the flag of Mars, and that is something which is intuitive and understandable by anybody who's familiar with the flag or who has read the works of Kim Stanley Robinson, the Mars trilogy, of course, which remains, I think, for people who read science fiction and are interested in literature, the starting point for discussion of the settlement of Mars. That will obviously have a resonance there. As I say, it's about popularizing the coin, and it's about making sure that people understand our values. And if they do both of those things, if we do both of those things, I think we will be in excellent shape. And I shall end there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a really great presentation. I was nodding my head a lot during that, Louis/Craig. You know, I think you bring up a lot of great points about our need to reach different types of audiences and reach them where they are, you know, places like TikTok and other languages besides English. I think that's a huge opportunity for us moving forward. One question we had, I think it just disappeared from the panel. I'll pull it back up. Jeremy Fabiano was asking, hey, Jeremy, he was asking, can you think of any actual usable products that could make that could enhance Marscoin's virality when it comes to mass market adoption?
Well, there is a Marscoin store that we have. It is mentioned a great deal on Discord, and we're talking about clothing, you know, and things of that nature, bags, you know, fanny packs and things. I think that's really useful. Anything which has the logo on, and I'll say this: I think the logo is really good. You know, the fact that it has Mars on it rather than some kind of stylized representation, I think emphasizes the fact that we are talking about the planet. You know, this is not something where we're just jumping on to the moon, to the Mars, those kinds of tropes which are so used in the cryptocurrency space. To answer the question, I don't know. It's an excellent question. I'll say right now I don't know. But one thing that has been talked about, I've certainly had this conversation with other members of the community, is that we could indeed, you know, mint physical Mars coins as, you know, a conversation piece, a commemorative piece. People do that in other communities. There are, I don't know how many DOGECOIN, physical DOGECOINs that are available. They're nice to have on your shelf. You can put them in your wallet. You can show them to people as you go around and about in your daily business. I think that would be an excellent way forward, just to as a curio. But it's a good question. It's a good question. What do we do to create merchandise and such which are useful? It's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Any last questions, folks? This was a very good presentation. I think it's given me a lot to think about, and I'm sure Leonard as well, as we try to enhance our marketing and social media moving forward. So thank you very much. I don't see any more questions, so we'll let you go now. And oh, Leonard, did you have?
Yeah, no, I was going to thank you too for this amazing presentation. Typically, as an engineer, you end up with a deficit in the marketing arena, and I'm always amazed by our content sharing on Discord. The memes that are out there are amazing. In particular, with Mars, we are looking at a history of amazing mainstream movies and thoughts that, you know, past generations created. So it's really interesting to tap into it, and then with Marscoin and blockchain bring that to the forefront, right? This is this beautiful connection between these two, the culture that already exists and the culture that might be born.
Absolutely, and I think not enough is made of marrying the coin with currently existing ideas about Mars and what Mars is going to be. And as I say, I think we do need to get on things like TikTok, but I also think that the communication pathways already exist in terms of our presence on. We have a presence on Twitter. We have a presence on, Telegram and on Snapchat. We just need to increase the volume. We need to increase the volume hugely, and I think we do that by everybody in the community who is able and willing, and why wouldn't you be, to get on there, start following the people who are posting about it. If you're on Twitter and you're posting about it, you're part of the Marscoin army. And so it is just a matter of talking about it all the time. And like I say, if you're not somebody who creates content, just repost other people's content. There is this concept in communication studies called phatic communication, where the idea behind that is, I don't really have anything to say. Hi, everybody. You're just being present. You're being part of a conversation, even if it's just to say, hi, yeah, me too. And what he said, this post up here, that is actually really, really helpful. It does two important things. It increases volume, and it shows that there is a consensus of people who dig the coin. I love this coin. That's why I just posted this. Doge have it right. And if Doge had the use case of Marscoin, we'd all be El Salvador right now, wouldn't we? I mean, really.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, as someone who's followed Doge since the beginning of it, that it is so popular, because it's an inflationary currency that's literally a joke. But apparently they're doing something right, because they're very successful and popular right now. So it's a great example for us to follow. Well, thank you so much. This was great. Really appreciate it. Thank you for participating in our event today.